Okay, good morning everyone. I am Sim Concepcion and I'm here to present my internship experience at the Green Computing Hub. Okay, so for this morning, I'll describe the project and then talk about what was achieved in my 10 weeks of internship. I will then go through the lessons I've learned from the experience, discuss how the theory from classes was applied, the professional attributes gained, and finally the insights and reflections from this internship. Okay, so first let's start by delving into the concept of green computing. What is green computing? So green computing can be described as the use of computers and other computing devices and equipment in an energy efficient, eco-friendly, and sustainable manner. This can refer to both hardware and software services. The end goal is to reduce the environmental impact of IT operations. Examples of green computing efforts can include reducing the use of hazardous materials, increasing recyclability or biodegradability of old products, maximizing energy efficiency, having resource-efficient programs, and green data centers that use energy-efficient cooling and other approaches. So now that we've defined what green computing is, let us dive into the project itself. So what is the Green Computing Hub project? It's a flagship research project of the University of Auckland School of Computer Science. The goal is to foster collaboration and support of the exchanging of ideas and solutions on sustainable computing. So essentially, it's a computer hub. It's an interactive web hub where users can submit information about green computing projects, and other users can interact with those projects. The Green Computing Hub is in partnership with the University of Auckland Sustainability Flagship Research Project and the Sustainability Committee of the Faculty of Science. From the start, it has been decided that the implementation of the website will use vanilla JavaScript, PHP, and HTML. Utilizing a classic framework that uses core native technologies without relying on additional libraries or frameworks can enable the project to be lightweight, portable, and easily maintainable by different cohorts of students who may be engaged in the project. Can also help the project become more future-proof since some frameworks may become unsupported over time. Students from last semester's ComSci 399 started work on the Green Computing Hub as part of their capstone requirement. They started a website that can store and display information about green projects, utilized a free web hosting server, and reserved the website domain for this. I am assigned as the lead and only developer for the project for this internship. The scope of work for the internship are to have a fully developed and thoroughly tested hub in vanilla JavaScript with PHP, Linux, Apache Web Server, and MySQL. Provide understandable documentation. Have an effective use of a version control system, testing the functionalities and monitoring and maintenance of the system, and have a well-documented handover, giving the partner access to all information at the end of the internship period. So the project results and achievements in the 10-week internship could be classified into 5 different areas. So we have process establishment, back-end improvements, front-end changes, new features, and documentation. So for process establishment and version control, we used an agile Scrum approach. We utilized the Kanban board to keep track of project and task management, and we had daily stand-up meetings to review progress and prioritize tasks. A new GitHub repository was established for version control, and a staging area was also put in place in the production environment where some code can be tested. For back-end enhancements, there were numerous changes done to the code to optimize performance. One would be refactoring of database queries and database connection requests. Whereas before, there could be a need for 3 to 4 subqueries to populate a form. That is now done using only 1 query and 1 database connection that uses joins. Repetitive code was also removed and duplicate files were removed and refactored to use reusable blocks of code. Database contents were cleaned. The setup for the PHP web server was also enhanced. The .htaccess file is a configuration file used to control and modify the behavior of the Apache web server, and changes were made to limit access, enhance security, and rewrite some URLs so that the .php suffix is not exposed, for example. The project also used third-party library files from Google and PHP Mail to implement Google login and sending of emails. However, these third-party files were quite a lot, sometimes numbering more than 20,000 files, which affected the web server setup because the free tier we were using had provision only for a limited number of files. Thus, another backend enhancement was researching on and using a tool to pack the vendor package dependencies into a single PHP archive file for easier packaging and distribution. On the front-end part, we've fixed the CSS to remove internal and inline CSS and consolidate these into an external style sheet. I also removed calls to third-party fonts, since this was slowing down the system and how the page was loading. I removed hard-coded URLs where possible, removed orphan pages, and added missing pages for previous dead links, such as those for the legal page, for example. The HTML code for the header and footer were also unified and modularized so that part of the code could be called by different pages. I've added a site logo and fav icon so that the logo will appear on the web page tab. Background photos were also changed and image sizes were optimized for a faster loading experience. There were general look and feel changes done. For example, changing the color of the program categories to a darker saturation color, which is more eye-friendly. So this slide lists down the changes I've mentioned. I also added several features to the new features to the Green Computing Hub. So we could now edit existing projects. Previously, once a project was submitted, you would not be able to edit it. We've added organization name in the project fields. We've added additional roles and functionalities, such as the admin role and the moderator role. So these roles have additional functionalities as well. They could do bulk publishing and unpublishing of projects. They could do bulk deletion of projects and bulk upload of projects using JSON format. And also bulk download of projects using JSON. Another new feature is sending an email to the submitter and notifying a moderator whenever a project is submitted. For documentation, I've tested and documented the functionalities when the project was handed over to me in July of 2023. The GitHub repository has a README section, and code comments are also included in the enhancements. There is now a new project overview document that contains use case diagrams for the different use cases scenarios in the website. I've created a web server deployment guide, a cookie policy review document, and short papers on the researches done for user authentication alternatives, website notifications, and the comparison on the different web hosting alternatives available. So let's dive into the lessons learned during this internship experience. So I've learned about what works. Having a flexible work setup does work. This helped a lot, especially when I had a personal emergency a week after I started. I had to take a week off and then work remotely for the next 2 weeks. Both of my industry mentors were very considerate in my requests, and because of this did not impact how the project was delivered. Since you were using an agile approach to the development, the daily stand-up meetings also were extremely helpful in setting direction. The associated Kanban board was useful to show progress visually. Open communication channels are very useful to get feedback and manage expectations, especially in the agile setup that we had. Shared folders and documents, chat, and emails are good tools to use as well. Another thing I learned is to just do it and start the task. It's important to analyze and weigh options, but we should also avoid analysis paralysis. So research what you do not know, have a local setup to test and experiment and correct, and just start coding. On a technical perspective, From this internship, I've learned more about PHP, how to set it up, the settings and security for it. I've learned more about web hosting and maintenance, cookie policies, Google authentication and APIs, sending of emails using PHP. I've learned a lot about how vendor dependency libraries work and are set up, and how these can be compressed using PHP archive files or .phr. So on the application of theory to knowledge, I found that some of the subjects that were taught had direct impact to the project I was working on. So among these subjects are CS718, Programming with Industry, where the topics on GitHub arrays, control flow, design patterns were very useful and applicable. Another subject is 719, CS719, the topics on HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and cookies, and SQL as well. CS751, Advanced Topics in Database Systems, where I found the topics on DB transaction costs, MySQL DB, joins, keys, and foreign keys as very useful to the project. And Ops Management 757, Project Management, where the Scrum, Agile, and Kanban topics were discussed. During this internship, professional attributes were also developed and enhanced. The New Zealand government listed 7 key skills as skills that employers seek, and I think the internship experience definitely enhanced them. So having a positive attitude is important because, as the saying goes, hire for attitude and train for skill. I've encountered challenges, but having a positive attitude and approach made work easier. Open communication is definitely important in managing expectations from all parties. Teamwork is important, so although I was working alone as the lead and only developer, I still had stakeholders in my industry mentors, so it was important to maintain working well with them as well. Working alone makes it even more important to do self-management, since I was accountable for my work and deliverables. Another key attribute is willingness to learn, especially in IT where things can move very quickly. So at the start of this project, I did not know any PHP. But dove into learning it to be up to speed and deliver the required work. There were also instances where issues occurred because of external factors, such as when the web hosting provider deleted all of our files because of their corrupted system. So through resilience, I was able to adapt and recover. I think I exhibited all of these attributes and helped in making the internship experience successful. So I am thankful for the university for providing me the opportunity to work on this internship. In this slide, what follows are some insights on the internship process. So at the start of the internship, I think not knowing whether I had a placement or not was a bit stressful for me and a bit anxiety-inducing. So it would be nice to maybe have more transparency in the placement process. So I'm not sure how it could be done because I think we've also been provided all of the information that we have, but that's something I think that could be improved upon as well. Speed networking is great, but not all of the companies have job offers for interns. And another useful thing probably would be to have a post-networking session to debrief on what happened during the job search. So while the internship is ongoing, communication is important. A set start and end time and an ergonomic work setup helps to maintain a healthy work environment. So it's important to maintain a healthy work environment to continue delivering the work. Post-internship, I think we can share success stories and maybe also share tips on how to update LinkedIn and CVs to maximize the internship experience. Okay, and that is all. And thank you for listening to my internship presentation on the Green Computing Hub project. So thank you.